right, so this is a really uncomfortable subject, but it might be closer to home than maybe you think, or some things I'm going to tell you about homelessness is going to be surprising. I'm not talking about just homelessness, about the regular problem out there. I'm talking about people that never expected to be in a position where they're this close to being homeless, or those who've been homeless that never expected it, or even millionaires who are homeless. I'm going to share this with you because I've got a few stories, and uncomfortable or not, we have to deal with this. There's ways to avoid all of this. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Uncut. Raw, real, and uncut. Welcome to Landria Uncut, where I talk about anything I doggone well please. Get over it. Well, welcome here. I'm glad you're at my channel because I decided I just want to talk about the things that are important to all of us. And that is, why are we living in such a messed up world? What happens when people get older and they think that they're going to retire and they worked so hard and all of a sudden they find out they either can't quit working or they really don't have anything and they're this close to losing everything? Now, I actually have two friends that are, well, technically homeless. Technically homeless. In other words, they really don't have the means to do what normal people do, is like rent a place long term or own a place. And maybe their income doesn't really support long-term stability. And you could say, well, they didn't plan, or maybe they did stupid stuff along the way. Well, all of us do that at some point. As an entrepreneur myself, we're always this close to losing everything. In fact, most entrepreneurs do lose everything. I don't think people know that. I was an investment banker for 20 years, and most entrepreneurs that make a lot of money go bankrupt once or twice. People don't know that. But what do? They have the wherewithal to figure out how to come back from that, to create companies, to do whatever they have to. But most people aren't in that position. I'm going to give you a list of people who were homeless. Chris Gardner, Tyler Perry, Dr. Phil McGraw, Halle Berry, Susie Orman, yes, the one who talks about finances, Sylvester Stallone. We also know that Tony Robbins was homeless. In fact, he was overweight and living in his SUV. Let's include Jennifer Lopez, Jim Carrey. His family lived in a car, and even Charlie Chaplin. What's the final story? These are all millionaires. Some of them are billionaires. How does that happen? Well, a lot of those started out that way, but a lot of people don't start out that way. They actually start out okay, and then later on they realize things aren't turning out the way they thought. How does this happen? You could say, well, they didn't save enough, but I know people who've done that and lost everything. Maybe you say, well, they took too many chances, but that's how these millionaires and billionaires got all their money. They had to take chances. I think coming from poverty actually inspires you because there's nowhere else to go but up. Eckhart Tolle lived for 2 years on park benches. He's a millionaire. How did he do it? He wrote a very enlightening book, and of course, the rest is history. But the sad part is that I look at the people who've been in jeopardy, and they really don't deserve it. And they're looking at their future and frankly not able to figure out how to get out of this, because the problem is the older you get, the tougher it is because you become unemployable by most standards. Now, I work online. Like some of those before me, like Dolores Cannon, who worked to be, I think she was in her 80s before she died and she was still working. Online businesses, there's no barriers to that. This is why I suggest that you consider looking into that. However, what's the rest of the population do? There are a lot of online options that don't really care what your skills are, and you can earn money. Sometimes it's only 20 bucks an hour, but that could keep you afloat. But how does this happen? A lot of people are just living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't have a plan to earn enough money to put some savings in that accumulates. Maybe they got in a bad situation. That money went back. Maybe they went through a divorce or bankruptcy or 101 other things I can tell you. Are you in that situation? So my friends that are in that situation, they're not making enough to make up for the cost of living out there. So they keep losing and losing and losing. And when anything else comes up, then it takes them back into the hole. And then they can't really dig their way out of it because it's a matter of just saving. When you have large amounts of money coming in, it's a lot easier to bank it and then have that safety net. So what if you put it into is the stock market and you say, okay, that's the best way. Well, how many times have we seen people who were really well off lose everything? What are you doing right now to make sure this doesn't happen to you? There are plans to put into place, and there are safeguards, and there are ways to make money. Even if you have some savings, even if you have that cush, maybe learning a skill or working online isn't a bad idea to get that extra income. And then those of you who are 65 or over, of course, you can get Social Security, but that's hardly going to pay anything. The dilemma of the aging American that is going to potentially be homeless is huge. And I don't see anybody doing anything about it. Your opportunities, however, are greater than ever now to get yourself out of that situation because we have the internet. And people might be afraid of it and AI, and I hear all this complaining. The truth is, as a creator, I make money just off my YouTube channels. I have residual incomes coming in off of affiliate marketing. I have money coming in for courses. And of course, I have all other kinds of opportunities that I can pursue. I can do coaching and contract myself out. Once you get those skills, you'd be shocked at how few people really have them. And you can do it on a computer anywhere in the world. So if you are living in your van or your SUV or your RV, you have the opportunity to earn on the road and start to actually enjoy that lifestyle instead of thinking it's a curse or this horrible destiny of survival. Maybe you turn it into a cross-country adventure instead, and then you get that online training of some kind. Trust me, you can do this. Anybody can at any age. And here's the beauty of that. You know, we usually retire and you see people, they just get bored out of their brains and they just don't know what to do. I have some friends like that. And I think, wow, there's so many other things that you could be doing that you really enjoy and making money. Don't be a victim of this whole class of aging people who are petrified to be out in the streets. It's not too late to put a safeguard in. Now, I teach this, but I teach people who want to create businesses. But do your homework. Go figure this out. What can you do? What skills do you have? I'm sure you have some kind of skills. There's all kinds of temporary work online. Go check it out. And even if you have to start at the bottom and you're making 20 bucks an hour on your schedule, that can add up. And again, some of the smartest people, entrepreneurs, are the ones in those positions. I just named a whole bunch of them. I just want to say that those I know who are in that position are learning that there's a whole community of people out there in the same position. They're banding together to create communities, safety out there, and start enjoying this trip, even if they're on the road. If you're in that position, look up all the apps that help you figure out where you need to be and get with those people. If you're petrified of being in that position and you think, oh my God, what if something happens to me? And especially when you never know what's going to happen health-wise, get some skills, get online, get yourself a remote position, learn some skills, and trust me, you'd be surprised at how much money you can make and start enjoying it, giving you something, and then you won't be petrified to be that older person. You're just going to be a skilled person online. Who knows what you could create from it? So don't go into fear. Don't start freaking out. Start looking up your resources. It's more rampant than you know. It can be pretty darn scary, but it doesn't have to happen to you. And whatever your situation is, you can turn it around and turn this into something pretty amazing. Go into some communities. You'd be shocked at what's out there right now. I'll be back more to talk about this subject and a whole bunch of others about how stupid we are out there and not supporting each other as a community. Whatever your situation, I'm sending you all kinds of blessings and love. I'll see you in the next video.